This week, we'll be talking about Furiosa and its release date, or first time we'll see it, Taylor Swift era tour box office potential, Best Buy no longer selling physical media, the Marvel's box office, the writers being let go from Daredevil Born Again TV series, MCU restructuring how they do their shows, and A24 going mainstream. So, hey everyone, welcome to the Let's Be Real podcast. I'm Nayan, your host for this episode, and I'm joined here by James, as usual, and a special guest, Kyan.
Hello.
Some of you may know Kyan from our previous podcast, but he's coming in to do a special one today. So, boys, how you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah.
Interested to see the topics today.
Yeah.
Just talk about them, go in depth.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. It's been a long time since I've been on a podcast, almost 4 weeks.
Yeah. Nearly a month
That's
since
probably-
you last did yours, eh?
Probably our first face-to-face in like 6 weeks as well.
Yeah, Nan's officially returned back to Auckland, so this gets a lot more easier now.
It does.
Yeah,
it
no
does.
more of that Zoom 40 minutes and then stitching it together.
The listeners did not know the struggle.
Yeah, no, we went through a struggle to get that done for you guys.
We did. So while I've been away, have you guys been watching anything interesting?
Oh, watching anything interesting? I have. And it was a recommendation from Kyan sitting right next to me, and that is Andor. We spoke about it, I think you were on the podcast. It was 2 weeks ago.
A couple of weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah, it was a wee bit ago. But yeah, Kyan mentioned Andor is one of the best things he's seen of this year, I believe. And so I saw it was nominated for Emmys. I saw all this positive stuff about it, but from Kyan's recommendation, I was like, okay, well, I have to see it now. And I've been watching it. Only 4 episodes deep.
Mhm.
I'm enjoying it. But yeah, still waiting for the hook to really get me, or to like, I guess, have my my appreciation for it to be on the same level as everyone else that I've seen. But it's on its way there, and I trust your judgment on that one. But other than that, I watched the first episode of Loki. I watched the second one tonight. Good start for it. We'll see how it is. I love the first season, but we know MCU TV shows, they start out real strong and then they fizzle out real quickly and really in a real sour way.
And
But,
always at the end.
yeah,
Mhm.
I'm just trying to use my time at the moment just to catch up on some TV shows, specifically before Emmys hit. I mean, me and you watched Killers of the Flower Moon last night, so I'm all up to date in terms of the Oscars this year, and it's looking like a good time.
It is. It's looking very
what about
good.
you, Khan?
Well, I've been watching Gen V, the spin-off of The Boys.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really quite good. I mean, I would say it's in parody with The Boys.
Mhm.
As a package, The Boys has a whole bunch of really awesome characters and, some really cool story moments. But I would say it's like pretty equivalent to that first season of The Boys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, obviously The Boys has Anthony Starr, who is kind of takes the spotlight there a lot because
Yeah.
of his presence on screen.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have him.
Yeah.
But I would say it's humor and it's gratuity and it's kind of messaging is all very much like The Boys. They don't hold back
Oh, yeah.
at all.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, I was always skeptical to watch it just because I thought the franchise was a little bit too premature to start branching out.
Mm.
I really wanted to see more of The Boys and that go into more positive direction. But yeah, no, I'm hearing so much good stuff about it. I have it in my mind to go and watch it as soon as I can, get through Andor first.
It's honestly
Yeah.
quite refreshing, to be honest. I mean, I think The Boys, as good as it is, does get a little bit repetitious in how it does its stories.
A bit, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so it's nice to branch out a bit. Actually, I was quite surprised by it.
Is it unique in any kind of way, or is it just like The Boys?
It's unique in the sense that it's in a high school, university sort of structure.
And so you really feel that, high school.
You do feel that
Yeah.
it's high schooly,
Oh,
and it's
that's good.
definitely
Yeah.
there's all those sort of like dramas.
Yeah.
It's definitely aimed at a more younger audience for sure, but it's still retained that character of The Boys.
And the violence and the gores on par or similar, or just a touch under?
It's on par. Specifically the I would say the kind of shocking sexual moments are pretty out there.
I bet. I mean,
You get some
especially
moments in The
high
Boys.
school. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Oh, you'll see.
Might
You'll
be
see when you
close.
watch it, and you'll go, "Whoa."
Now I'm curious.
Awesome. All right, so here on the Let's Be Real podcast, we're here to bring you all the latest and greatest news from the entertainment industry, from blockbuster hits to indie flicks. We've got you all covered. And if you're a real movie buff, be sure to check out MovieGainz.com for even more exciting content like box office stats, Oscar predictions, and 4K reviews. So let's not waste any time and let's get straight into it. First topic is Furiosa. So that is as in Furiosa from Mad Max Fury Road. She is getting her own spin-off little prequel. Anna Taylor-Joy will be playing Furiosa, and Chris Hemsworth is Immortan Joe, and it's directed by George Miller. So there's been chatters recently about the debut of when people first see this film, and it's been eyed for Cannes 2024. So my question to you guys is, do you think Cannes is a good sort of fit to first reveal this movie to the world?
I don't know. I feel it's kind of weird now that everything is being revealed at Cannes. This was never. This seems to be a new development that they reveal blockbusters at Cannes. It kind
There's
of
always like one.
It kind of reminds me of like Indiana Jones airing at
Oh, was that Venice or something?
No, that was Cannes.
It was
Cannes.
Cannes again, and it was sort of like
Didn't work.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Cannes. It's like, okay.
I think now because Top Gun debuted there and, went on to like a very successful box office campaign, and then obviously Oscars, it did a lot there too.
Yeah.
So now this may be the new strategy.
It seems to be. It
Yeah.
seems to be this. If they're confident in it, they do release it preliminary. Yeah. I don't know really what my thoughts on it are, other than I hope it's very good, because it's going to be very hard to top Fury Road.
Yeah.
Just because of how crazy and chaotic and out there it was. And most of all, no one was expecting it. No one was expecting it to be as good as it was. Now people have expectations, and that's going to be really hard to top.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, Mad Max Fury Road, that debuted at Cannes. And this source here that said said that it's just a rumor at this point. They'll only debut it at Cannes once they find out after the strikes if actors can fit it into like their schedules. Because if the actors can't support a Cannes debut by being there, then they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at what Mad Max Fury Road did. It didn't do much box office wise, of course, but it debuted at Cannes. Obviously, came out to a very high praise, great reviews. Went on to, I think, nominated for 10 Oscars, won 6 of them. It was nominated for Best Picture. And if Furiosa is as good, or even if it's a little bit under what Mad Max Fury Road is, it's a very great movie, and I think it's deserving of a Cannes debut if it comes anywhere close to Fury Road. If we are going to start doing blockbusters at Cannes, it needs to be a very high caliber sort of blockbuster. It can't just be, you run of the mill blockbusters like Elemental, like Indiana Jones, and there was another one that debuted this year that was kind of just forgotten about. But they need to be, or then they need to be a blockbuster that the studio is like, okay, we have a juggernaut on our hands in terms of box office potential and in terms of Oscar campaign potential. That's where the film festival circuit. That's where it starts, at Cannes Film Festival. And if you want to get on the map, especially for a blockbuster, I think Cannes is the platform to do it. So if this is true and they are eyeing that, I think it's a vote of confidence from the studio being like, okay, Miller's made another banger. We're dropping it in Cannes, getting it in front of people's faces as soon as possible. And so, yeah, I think it's a good move. And we'll just wait and see if they've made the mistake that Disney did by thinking Indiana Jones was the banger. But yeah, again, we'll have to see with that one.
I think it's like apple and oranges between those two films,
Yeah.
really. I think this one will be good. It doesn't quite have to top Mad Max Fury Road. It can either match or just come below, but it can't be like it can be below, but not like below. I'm doing hand things here, so these guys know what I'm doing, but when we get to video one day, you'll be able to visualize with me, guys. But yeah, like it can either be on par with Mad Max or just below, but I think the quality of this film is still going to be great. And if it's debuting at Cannes like Mad Max Fury Road did, and that's where it's like critical reception started to kick off, then I think this is what the studios are thinking. And how, like you said, it could be like Top Gun, where it could be both box office and critical successes. So we'll just have to
Mm,
wait and see if
yeah.
people that remember Mad Max come back.
It will be interesting in terms of its box office potential. I don't think it's really a very lucrative franchise to milk out, but I'm very assured of the quality of this. Just with Anya Taylor-Joy signing on, she signs up
Yeah.
for very good projects most of the time. George Miller's he's a bona fide great director. Chris Hemsworth as the villain. It's an interesting one. I'm very curious to see how that turns out. But
At least he's playing a villain.
yeah, and probably was it shot in Australia? Do you think it would be? Like
Might have
Fury?
been. It's hard to say. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of the involvement with Chris Hemsworth on that. Being Australian, of course.
Yeah, it was a plenty of Australians in Fury
Yeah.
Road. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be very good. It's very high on my most anticipated list.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
All right, now we're talking about the queen of the box office for 2023, and that is Taylor Swift and her.
Not the Marvels.
No, it's not the Marvels. That's the Jokers, I guess. We'll get to that in a bit. But Taylor Swift's Eras Tour film is set to release this weekend. Last weekend, the box office pre-sales was already over 100 million for pre-sales for a concert film, by the way. And it's looked to be tracking around about 150 million-ish for this season, just in pre-sales alone at the moment. So what do you guys think of this? Like, I know Beyonce came out with her Renaissance, is it called Renaissance?
Yeah.
Concert film as well. And I've heard nothing in regards to box office. I know it comes out in December.
Yeah, I think pre-sales for that around 15 million. It's not the same, but still very, very good for a concert movie. I just hope this isn't a trend. You know, we covered this before, and I think it was Justin Bieber's Never Say Never.
Yeah.
That was the highest grossing concert movie at 73 million. Total domestically, by the way, not opening. So this might become a trend if Taylor Swift really starts it off, but no one can really top this once it does debut. I don't think it's going to get to 150 million. I don't think it's going to get to 125 million.
Opening weekend.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know if I heard 100 million opening weekend. Looking at the data,
I thought the pre-sales was 100 million already.
Pre-sales, yeah, but the pre-sales extend beyond just the opening weekend. That's 3 days.
Oh, right. Yes.
So I don't think that it will hit that 100 million by the end of it. I just think that the capacity issues, it's not playing enough cinemas. It's not playing, in enough session times to get it, I don't think. They have added more Thursday preview screenings to support it. I think it's tracking for around 3 to 5 million on that one there. So I think the real question I'm asking myself right now is, can it beat Joker for the opening record in October, which is 96 million? That's the benchmark for me. And I know Box Office Pro, I think they had it around 130 million, but Box Office Pro, I don't really support their kind of predictions. They're always all over the place. It's going to be very interesting. And don't take my word 100% complete accuracy with this one. This is a very different movie to track and to look at data for, because you're not looking at a typical movie releasing. This is a concert movie, and it's driven by fans. And you can say that for like MCU or whatever, but it's driven by a certain kind of legion of fans where they don't really, you don't know how they consume movies or what they want. And tracking opened, and the pre-sales it broke records and stuff at the very opening of it, slowed down to a massive halt because all the fans had gotten it. So I think my thinking on its opening thing is that most of the tickets that are going to be sold for Taylor Swift's movie are already sold. All the people that want to see it have already bought tickets. I don't see a potential for much walk-ups. For a couple going to a movie on Saturday night, oh yeah, we'll go see Taylor Swift's Eras Tour. I just don't see it. So I think it's a purely fan-driven movie, and only fans are going to rock up and see it. So I think you're looking at around 95.
95.
We'll see if again, it could be all over the place. It could be 150. It could be 50. But it'll be like 80. It could be all over the place. It's going to be an exciting week in terms of box office for sure. But that's my take on it. That's how I view it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I almost don't even view these things in opening weekend values, I suppose, because for me, box office changes so drastically, can change so drastically after an opening weekend. A box office run can fall off dramatically, or it can extend out like a long appendage for many, many weeks to many months, causing the film to earn hundreds of millions in the end.
Yeah.
So the initial box office pre-ticket sales, while they are a good indication of success, they aren't the be-all, end-all indicator. It's like, I mean, when it comes to these concert films, I suppose the only really ones we have to compare it to are that, obviously, the Justin Bieber concert film, and then This Is It, the Michael Jackson documentary concert film.
Hannah Montana, Best of Both Worlds.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm doing right now.
But I mean...
I forgot that thing existed.
Yeah, it's true, yeah. And, you know, when it comes to, is this going to become a trend? It's like, yeah, possibly. It might become a small trend.
Yeah.
But the only reason that this will be such a massive success is because it's Taylor Swift, not because of any other reason.
Yeah.
It's like there's a reason why there's the term Swiftonomics. Like, that's how impactful she is on, you know, the economy when she runs through a city. You know,
it's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like, yes, while Beyonce is also, you know, no doubt as revered of an artist, she simply does not have that same level of power in regards to economic push as Taylor Swift does. It just is what it is.
Clearly, yeah. The thing about Beyonce's one is she gets 50% of the revenue. 50% of the box office. Just a flat 50%. Yeah.
Should better hope it's successful then.
Yeah, that's a crazy mark. But I mean, even if it makes 100 million,
that's 50 million.
She gets 50 million just straight in the pocket.
Well, it's almost one of those things where it's like fair enough because the entire thing is her.
Pretty much, yeah.
Her.
I wonder what Taylor Swift's is though, because this movie could break 500 million.
I would expect it would, because I mean, This Is It earned 260 million worldwide.
Yeah.
So, you know, you take that, you extrapolate it forward, you add on top that this is Taylor Swift, and you know she's in arguably her prime.
Yeah.
You know, you could have said it was in the past, but I honestly think it's now.
Yeah, I do think it's right now.
I think 500 million is possibly even a low ball.
Yeah, again, it's
very hard to say.
It's very hard to say, and it's very hard to know the kind of the drop off on this, because usually these movies open up big. I think the Justin Bieber one that opened up to like around that 40 to 45 mark, only got 73 in the end, so it dropped off like a rock. But Taylor Swift's, this one opens up weirdly because it doesn't play on the weekdays. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's not in cinemas.
It's just weekends.
So it's just on weekends. So it's probably going to have a very low drop off, but it's not making anything in between that. And so it's hard, as you know, you look at all the historical data and how it will all fall throughout the days. It's unlike anything that I've seen in terms of like tracking this kind of stuff.
It's either very predictable or very unpredictable, because when you look at it on two sides of the coin, the only people who are going to watch this movie are the people who are fans of Taylor Swift. And that is on some level something that you can calculate.
And the boyfriends that get dragged to it.
And the boyfriends, and you can also calculate that. So, and then on the other side of the coin, you can say, well, you know, maybe this might become a phenomenon and a whole bunch of other people might go start watching it, but I don't see that as likely. I see this as really pretty one note. The people who like Taylor Swift will watch it.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. I don't know how it's going to do internationally, which is why I'm saying around 500 million.
Are we even getting it?
We are, yes. Okay. And I saw like you know, the ticket sales here. I mean, the opening night, it's like half of IMAX is gone.
It's showing in IMAX.
It's in IMAX, yeah.
What the hell?
Wow. I almost want to kind of see it now.
Yeah.
Is that us?
No.
We'll go to a screening.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I have anything else to add on, because I think.
What's your weekend prediction?
My weekend prediction. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna say 100 million because that's the figure I saw in pre-sales, and I didn't realize that it was across the board. I thought my assumption was the weekend, so I'll probably just go 110. I'll go 110 for opening weekend.
Fair enough.
All right, bets are on, boys. All right, next topic is the big news from Best Buy, American chain. They've come out and said that they are no longer going to sell physical media content. That includes movies and TVs and Yeah. So they're going to stop selling 4Ks, DVDs, and Blu-rays. They're going to stop doing this by the end of Q1 of 2024. So that's March 2024. This is all physical media, not just to particular studios, because here in New Zealand, we're no longer getting Disney physical medias anymore. But for Best Buy, it's just physical media
in general.
Yeah.
And this is, for me, this is quite, no, I don't even know what I want to do. I don't know if I want to say what I want to say. Oh, no. This is a shame because obviously physical media was like getting such a good, like, little, renaissance, so to speak, and having this happen now. So what are you guys' thoughts on this? And is it just, I know it's going to be guttering to see, but do you think this is going to be a trend amongst other big branches and studios where they're just going to stop doing physical media?
Yes, it'll be a trend. We'll start seeing the big companies move away from physical media. I don't know if it will mean anything particularly bad, because I do think the boutique studios will come along, or the boutique resellers will come along, and they'll do the remasterings of these transfers for these 4Ks. So, for example, Universal or Warner Brothers will license out the rights to do a scan of, say, Ben-Hur to Criterion or Arrow or one of these boutique brands, and then these brands will take that on and do it themselves.
Yeah.
So I think it will. These movies will get into the hands of people. At least the classics will. But I question the modern films.
Yeah.
Because what happens when you get, Captain America 9? Is a boutique, a boutique company going to come along and go, yeah, we really want to do a release of Captain America 9? Maybe not.
The counter I'd say to that, those companies would see those as having potentially more sales.
Correct.
So would they drop kind of those other ones, those boutique titles, and take on the more popular ones like MCU, Phase 7 stuff or whatever?
I would say they would.
Yeah, so that could be sad for even just those the little people, like.
Well, it could very well, because they're the ones taking on these. But then it could also mean that these boutique studios have more money to do more remasters of the stuff that they wanted to do. So who knows? Inevitably, though, I think this is only a matter of time before most of the big chains drop physical media. Quite frankly, streaming is the future, unfortunately, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read the article by Digital Bits about this, who broke the news, and it is sad because have you guys ever seen a Best Buy like steelbook cover and be like, "Wow, I want
the Toy Story ones you
yeah.
have, bro"?
Yeah. I got that from
American Psycho, where he's the slip cover. When you pull up the slip, he's taking off his face.
Oh, really?
And then under he's covered in blood.
Oh,
that's so good.
Yeah, Best Buy has so many exclusives that I've always wanted to like get them, but we're not in America, and our American friends are sorry about this. This must be quite tough news. We've had tough news from this because Disney pulled out of distributing anything to Australia or New Zealand, which is where we are, and so now you guys are kind of suffering something as well.
Yeah, shame.
Best Buy doesn't affect us at all. Us here, we're not affected by this at all. But it is sad because we all do buy physical media at the end of the day, mostly 4Ks, and it's a very interesting kind of talking point. At least from what the article was saying, it's not all bad news. Best Buy is one of the biggest in terms of physical media sellers amongst stuff. Walmart, Target, and Amazon. Those are the other three. Now that Best Buy has dropped out of this completely. This has been happening for a while. But now they've dropped it completely. Now I think Target is slowly dropping their thing. So it's going to be a Walmart versus Amazon battle, and those two don't seem like they're going to stop doing it at any point in time.
Yeah, I don't know if the facts are right, but from what I heard, Best Buy was the second largest reseller of physical media.
I don't know the data for that.
Yeah, I don't know if I was just heard that today, but I don't know if it's 100% true or not. But Amazon is number one.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Walmart or Target are number two or whatever, but I've heard Best Buy was a huge reseller of physical media.
That's probably why they had all the exclusives. But yeah, no, I think we'll still see the presence of physical media be, through those two major chains. Amazon's going to be the biggest one for it now, obviously. And as Kyan alluded to, it's going to be those other ones that kind of come in there for those little titles and get their kind of share in there and might have more money to deal with and stuff. So I don't think it's all bad news, but I do think it indicates a trend. I know that Paramount Pictures were the first to jump on the bandwagon and stop doing it to Best Buy and just focus on Amazon. And now it seems like everything else is going to go towards Amazon. And I guess that's just where it is right now. I think in terms of, streaming potential and the money made from that, it's no one knows.
Yeah.
Like, they don't share this data enough for us to be like, yep, streaming makes more money than this. And it's very clear that physical media does have its place in terms of making money.
Mm-hmm.
Hence why Disney did their TV shows on 4K and then said they would never do that, but they did. So there's clearly money to be made. It's just how are they going to do it? And, does this die? It won't die, but how does it go from here? Because, the industry is changing dramatically very fast, and I think we're seeing it in real time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I think for now it will probably be like studios trying to pull out of certain regions, like Disney did with us. I think that's probably going to be the next step. I think this Best Buy one was just a shock, just because of those exclusives that they had and like how great they were.
Yeah.
I think this was a shock, but like I think we'll probably see more studios just pull out of certain regions, whether it be Europe, Australasia, or Africa, North, South, whatever.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably see more of those now, so they can focus more on their streaming platforms because they'll obviously want subscribers.
Yeah, I think what we can see here though, 4K is the last physical disc.
Yes.
For movies, right?
100%.
We're not going to 8K.
No one's going to come along and spend billions of R&D on developing a new disk drive that can then try and redistribute an 8K disc or a new high quality format disc. I mean, how horrendously expensive would that be?
$300 like for one movie.
Oh, yeah, well, what I mean is like the R&D cost behind researching the technology in order to develop a disc that can actually hold
that
data and then like selling it and distributing and manufacturing it and then creating the disk drive, and it's just not worth it to them when the physical media format's dying. It's like it's just not worth it.
Would you buy an 8K disc?
I would buy an 8K disc.
What would be the first movie if all movies were available on 8K?
It would probably be Lawrence of Arabia.
Interesting pick.
Because it's shot on 70 millimeter and already has an 8K scan.
Damn.
Yeah.
What are you? 8K movie. What would you buy?
What would I buy? I would probably buy Blade Runner 2049. That's already like a fantastic visually looking movie, and I just think seeing that in 8K is just going to make it 10 times better.
I was going to say that.
Now you have to think of another one.
Now I don't know what to pick. I don't know. Really took it there. There's so much to pick from. Might go something different. Into the Spider-Verse. I want to see that, all the color.
The color.
Yeah, and just even clearer quality.
Not across.
Pardon?
Not across.
No. I've seen Into the Spider-Verse on 4K, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it is really good.
Yeah, it's so good. Across would be good, but I need to see that in 4K first before I'd be like, that's the 8K one I'm going to pick. I'm sure there's a better option out there for me. You took my answer, so I had to think on the spot.
You're welcome.
I'd actually buy Andor on 8K.
All right, next topic is the Marvels and its box office potential. So this Marvels is the next one coming out from MCU. Comes out in November. I wrote the wrong thing down. Sorry, this is awkward. So the long range tracking for this is between 50 to 75 million domestically. The pre-sales for this currently is 69% behind Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and 42% behind the Eternals. So guys,
Whoa, behind the Eternals.
Behind the Eternals.
Did I hear that right?
and Eternals released during COVID period as well. So another flop on Marvel's hands, you guys reckon?
Yeah, yes.
Another flop on the superhero genre, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what the budget was. I know that it was initially reported as like 100 and something, but then I saw that it was 200 and something. But I know it's high, and I know it probably won't. I don't even know if it'll make a profit. Ant-Man ended up finding some wiggle room there and getting a profit, at least breaking even. Just, I think they hit like 500 or 480, 490. Just on the skin of its teeth to get it. But the Marvel's opening is between 50 and 70 million. The Marvel movies that have opened under 70 million, they are The Incredible Hulk, Ant-Man, Captain America, the First Avenger, and Thor.
So literally phase 1, except for Ant-Man.
Yes. Eternals, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, COVID movies, all over 70 million. It's going to go under 70 million based on these figures here. We don't know how it's going to play out. But if it hits 50 million, it's the lowest opening in MCU history ever. And you got to adjust like 15 years inflation at least. That, 50 million in that era would be like 42 or something ridiculous like that. This is very low. And then you go to what it was forecasting in terms of the final figure, 121 million to 189 million. So movies that are made under 189 million are The Incredible Hulk, Eternals, Captain America, the First Avenger, Ant-Man, Thor, and Black Widow. So the same ones I mentioned before, and we've added some COVID movies now. This is horrendous. This is awful. Like, it's not even like, I thought Ant-Man was bad, bro. This is bad. This should be alarm bells in Disney's ear right now. Like, okay, we need to seriously change something. Halt everything. Change everything. I don't even know where to begin with this. It's such like a big topic, but me and Kyle were talking before you came here, just about the state of superheroes and the box office, kind of trajectory towards that genre of film, and where does it go? And if these figures are correct, MCU is not a guaranteed box office hit anymore. I think you've seen the end of the MCU era if these come to light. Mm-hmm. We've already seen it going down, 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 and I'm not ready to give up to say that everything Marvel is going to make. Lots of money.
It's not that it can't earn good money. It's just that the ceiling has lowered now for them, and it's 100%. Going to require more exponential effort for them to meet those standards to get people into cinemas.
Yeah,
it's like you basically need to either create a really, really good story, like through pure good writing, or you need to redo what you did with the original by drawing people in slowly again. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think the big question is, why would you go see this movie?
Why?
Yeah.
I guess you got the diehard Marvel fans that have just watched everything Marvel's been producing.
That's all they're relying on?
That's all I can think of right now.
I asked myself, why would I want to see this movie? I don't care for the characters that much. We've only seen Captain Marvel really once, so I can't bank on that. And like, what is the MCU building towards? I have no idea on the vision. It's just all the standalone stuff, but they're also team ups, and I know I'm not going to get good characterization. There's no reason for me to see this movie as an MCU fan.
Yeah,
because I know, or I presume, going into it, that when I come out of it, I've just seen, just another team up movie. They fight bad guys, cool, done. It's not like, oh, here's the next step. Oh, it's building up towards, Kang or whatever. I don't see any vision, and I don't know why. It's not going to translate to box office success. Everyone was going to everything in phase 3 because we knew what was coming. You saw it, and it was building it up, just brief mentions. It doesn't take up much runtime to allude to what's coming next or where the story's going.
Well, in phase 1, you didn't know what it was building to. To be fair, you didn't know that this was building to the Infinity Saga. No one really knew that.
Yeah.
Until Avengers, the post-credit scene, as soon as people saw Thanos, they knew exactly what was going to happen.
The hardcore fans did.
Yeah.
But, a lot of people didn't realize that until far later on, right towards the end, really.
Yeah.
But what they did have early on in phase 1 is the build-up to Avengers.
Yeah.
So, first movie releases, Iron Man, end credit scene, we're putting together a team. Classic line now.
Yeah.
Then you had this incentive. You go, they're building up. They're building towards Avengers, like a whole thing. You'd never seen that before. What do we have now? It's like, what does an average audience member have to be excited for when they watch a Marvel movie? What are they looking towards?
Yeah, who are the Avengers?
I don't know. Who are they now? No one knows.
I don't know.
Well,
That's a mystery.
Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man are the spearhead of it.
And Captain Marvel. I don't know.
From what I understand, the Avengers are disbanded. That's my understanding, because you simply don't see their presence anymore, and you don't see them mentioned really. I assume that they've been disbanded.
Probably. The thing is that we're in that awkward period, like before all of this, we're still like catching up. You know how Endgame had that 5-year jump? I think majority of Phase 4 was stuff in between that 5 years, and we're just starting to catch up to real time now.
Yeah, we are to real time, eh?
Yeah, I think we've just hit the blip year, the real time events, so maybe that's when we'll start getting all these Avengers references and stuff like that.
I mean,
wait, are we?
Pardon? It's blip year.
I mean, pretty much all the TV series I've watched from Marvel have been post blip year.
I don't know. There's been stuff like
what?
Eternals.
Eternals was it was after. It was after blip.
Yeah.
But that was set completely. It was stripped away from the Avengers because all those memes about maybe you when Thanos attacked.
Right, yeah. I mean, I don't really know where where Marvel goes in on the Marvels.
The fact that we don't even really understand the timeline of what this is.
Yeah, and we follow it.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're some mainstream casual audience that just show up on a Sunday afternoon to go to a Marvel movie. We follow it. We have no idea what's going on.
It was like your question to me yesterday about at the end of the Eternals, the Celestial whose hand was frozen in the Earth's atmosphere. Never been mentioned since.
Yeah, what is going on with that?
Is it going to get addressed, or is Marvel just going to put a wet blanket over it and hope everyone just forgets about it?
Yeah, but let's say, what if Kevin Feige is just like this mad genius, and all these like 30 to 50 projects, all these TV shows, they just mesh together all in one. And then we're like, holy shit, this was the vision the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
So he made it go shit before it got good.
Yeah, and he tricked us.
Feige's good, but he's not that good.
Imagine if he was just some mastermind. He's like, yeah, I want them to like feel negative about it, because when it all clicks for them, they're going to be like, oh my God.
This is the reason why we have 20,000 characters on one TV show that's like 5 episodes long.
Yeah.
Funny. Well, unfortunately, our next few topics is all Marvel related. Saying the first one is the Dead. Did you say yay? Yeah. Get excited, boy. The next one is Daredevil Born Again TV series. This one has had a bit of a shake-up, really. So pretty much the show is getting a creative reboot. The writers have been sacked, so to speak, Charlie, in the current, what was written, Charlie Cox wouldn't have been in costume, in the Daredevil costume, until episode 4. The TV series was more based on a legal procedural that didn't quite resemble the original Netflix TV series of action and violence. So they're completely stripping that away to try and bring in some of the positive Netflix elements into it, while also keeping within the MCU sort of storyline. So what are your thoughts on this? There's been a lot of this has been happening in the recent phases for Marvel. And I know that Daredevil was quite an exciting project, and it was a fantastic series over at Netflix as well.
Interesting about the aspect of it being what did you say, legal procedural drama?
Yep.
I would have actually really liked to see that. I don't
as a Daredevil fan.
As a Daredevil, yeah, because I think that I'm very satisfied by what I've seen in the Netflix adaptation. I think it gives you what you want from that angle. It gives you that violent side of Daredevil, a very R-rated variant of it. I would have liked to see them branch out into a little bit more of an interesting angle there and try to do something a little more grounded with Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
still have him in the costume, as you said, at episode 4, fine. But, focusing more on like him trying to tackle corruption in the legal system could have been interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I actually agree with you on that one. Yeah, this doesn't sound that bad to me. I don't care if I see him until episode 4, as long as the character's interesting and they make the character work. Then it doesn't need to be in costume for a character to work. I mean, keeping the whole Netflix side of it, you can still do that and have the legal drama behind it and the courtroom, all that kind of stuff. But then when it comes to the action, I want them to keep the Netflix side of it. I don't want them to adapt to MCU, make it kind of fluffy and all that kind of stuff. I want them to kind of go all out for it. It's a TV show. Just it doesn't mean when Daredevil comes into the Avengers Secret Wars that he like slits Kang's neck and we have to see it or anything like that.
Yeah.
But you can still, in his own standalone projects, you can have it R-rated. You can have it be brutal and gritty and stuff we don't see in the MCU before as well. And you can even throw in other, Marvel characters. And I don't know why I'm saying that since I just criticized all these team-up stuff. But if you have Marvel characters come into Daredevil stuff, you can have them just unleash into an R-rated kind of atmosphere. And we need to have, I think, more R-rated, areas of the MCU. If it's going to expand this much, you got to expand into the R-rated territory and take some risks, take some leaps. It doesn't have to all be this family friendly joke every 10 minutes kind of stuff. It can be more than that. And further to that, this story doesn't have to be purely superhero. It doesn't have to be purely action. It doesn't have to be action every single episode, that's for sure. And I believe the show was destined for 18 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an absurd amount of episodes. So if we get him in costume in episode 4, that's fine. You still have another 14 episodes to go to have him fight and do whatever you want. So yeah, if they were focused on taking on the justice system and probably a more interesting justice system in the MCU than in the Netflix world that he was in, I think it'd be very interesting taking on superhero cases, maybe kind of, doing a legal fight for the other superhero characters like Spider-Man's damage or whatever, there is a lot of interesting material that could be done with it. But again, this whole thing just goes towards the lack of a clear vision and unity between, the head honchos at Marvel. It's just best if Kevin Feige is the one head doing all the kind of the big moves.
The puppet master.
Puppet master, yeah. But I don't know.
I think there are so many moving appendages now that it's possibly too hard for Feige to handle all on his own.
100%.
Too many moving parts, and I was alluding to that earlier on when I was speaking to you, James, regarding Marvel taking on television. May have just been too much for them to handle. It diluted their goals and their directiveness to guide the story in one particular direction, and it confuses fans. They watch Kang, but they haven't watched Loki, and it's very confusing.
Yeah.
Do you think it's too late for them to just drop TV series? Obviously, finish making what's already been scheduled, and then after that, just go back to the movie basis?
I don't think it's ever too late to do that. Just drop it. Just drop them all now.
I think there will be a time where they drop the TV series. It's just in the same way there'll be a time when they drop the movies.
It really depends.
When it ends.
Yeah, when it ends, when it dries up.
It's never going to end.
At one point, it has to end. It just has to. But, I mean, I forgot what I was going to say. But, yeah, you could just drop them all. You can just drop all the TV shows.
I think so, too. Just
Yeah.
focus on movies.
It would go the way. It really depends on what the goal of TV series are. Because the first goal was to build up Disney Plus as a fighter in these streaming wars. And to have MCU shows, oh my god, everyone's going to subscribe to this. So what's the goal now?
Well,
Disney's a heavy player in the streaming wars. You don't need MCU TV shows. What is... Oh, I know we're going to go into this deeper. I don't know why
I was about to say, this is a great transition that I was about to move into.
Let's go for it.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Thanks, James, with the assist. So our next topic was MCU restructuring how they do their TV series. So this is now, they're restructuring it to now have it will have showrunners who will write the pilots and show Bibles. I'm not 100% sure on what a show Bible is, but I assume that's the vision of the entire series. There's going to be full-time TV executives. It's no longer going to be limited series, but rather a multi-season serialized TV series. So I assume, like, I don't know, say WandaVision will probably get WandaVision 1, 2, 3 before they move on to a next project.
Right.
That sort of stuff. So is that the sort of vision you want? A more like thought out, carried by one person, one vision throughout this multi-series?
No,
No?
this is not what I want at all. This is another bad move in Marvel's mind, or at least in my opinion. I get so annoyed, and everyone's entitled to their own opinion, of course, but people always say like, like this MCU series, Secret Invasion, whatever, it needs more time. No, it doesn't. It doesn't need more time. They're like, oh, it needs 12 episodes, not 6. We've had movies for like 10 years, and they showcase the story and character perfectly. Maybe not perfectly, but like very well, where we got invested in them. You need better writing. You need a better vision. It's not about time. We don't need 7 hours or 8 hours. If it's 12 episodes, that's 10 to 12 hours of content to tell a character's story. You just need 2 hours. Honestly. And why do you need second seasons of stuff?
I don't know.
Yeah. A limited series is the way to go. I honestly think, in terms of on how Marvel wants to do the TV shows in the future, I think it's just limited series. And it's just showcasing, I guess, characters that don't get the movie spotlight and have no integral influence on the main Marvel storyline. So casual fans, people that can't afford Disney Plus, can go to the movies, spend their hard-earned money, and still keep up with everything going on. I mean, if you watch Quantumania, you don't really know what the...
No.
Kang, who is this?
Who is this guy?
Yeah, you don't understand his place in that universe, but yeah, it's not the way I think Marvel should go, but what I know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the fence about this one, actually. I think I don't think there is necessarily a right way to approach making television for the MCU, because it's such a sort of untamed, unknown thing. We have some idea of how some shows have done and how others haven't, but again, we don't have access to those figures. We don't know how they've done for Disney on a viewership level.
Right.
But in terms of creativity, I mean, what really struck out to me there, with what you said their name was, the showrunners are making the Bible, and did you say writing the pilot?
Yeah.
They're writing the pilot. To me, this sounds to be a direction, Disney's direction seems to be giving back a lot more creative control to those showrunners, which is good. This is a good thing.
Yeah.
However, at the same time, yes, you are right, James. If they're going to do long form stuff like this, what impact is that going to have on the mainstream movies and what we're talking about? If they're going to do these big, expansive things side by side the movies, it's like, well, who's the king of the jungle now? The TV series or the movies?
That's
who's ruling it?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I actually don't know the answer to this one, because, again, on one side, they're giving back creative control. And on the other side, this could lead to a further deterioration of whatever we're seeing.
Yeah. I mean, I think I might be the only one here that's seen the first episode of Loki season 2, and it feels so integral to what the Kang Dynasty, the next Avengers movie, is going to bring. And if you put yourself in the mind of a very casual viewer who likes the Marvel movies, who follows it, but not really that much, their incentive to watch Loki seems very low. Oh, that character died in Infinity War. Why would I want to watch the show? It's probably just in the past. They have no idea of everything else that's happened. And if they choose to skip Loki, they're choosing to miss out on so much, world building in terms of the TVA, which is meant to be integral to these next 2 Avengers movies, and our main villain, who's meant to carry it over. Again, Thanos debuted at the end of Avengers 1. a movie that nearly everyone saw because it broke all these records at the time. And, you know, why would you set up your next villain in a low-key series?
Yeah.
I know it was great. I know we loved it, all of us. But it doesn't make sense for for everybody to enjoy this, story.
Yeah, not everyone's on the same page at that point. Yeah, I think you're right in saying that. Like, I completely agree with you. I think that, integrating, very vital plot points into...
That's my dad's truck. Just ignore that one. It's very loud.
Yeah. So integrating very vital plot points into television series is, not a good idea. I don't necessarily think that's the fault of the creators of the show. I think this is a Disney decision. Yeah. And I think that sort of decision and those sorts of choices could be taken back. I think that they should take those sorts of decisions and integrating important story elements away.
Yeah.
And you can still do these multi-season things. Because, you know what? There's more to say with Loki. I think that while that first season was great, it didn't fully wrap it up in a way that I was...
It leave it open-ended.
It left it open-ended, and quite frankly, as much as I did love the series, it went by a little too quickly. For the scale of which they were telling the story.
Yeah. So my question to that is it a case of it, alluding to the next great threat in the MCU, or just because it's a Loki series? If this was a series that just focused on Loki and, kind of his story or in a side quest or whatever, there wouldn't be a need for season 2. But because it deals with such a big proponent of what's next for the MCU, there has to be a season 2 to expand more on it and get us closer to where the storyline is heading.
That's true, but then you could also say that, I personally did want to see what went on with Wanda between where she was in WandaVision and then where she was in Doctor Strange. There's a huge void there where she turns dark.
Do you think that should have been a TV series or a movie?
Well, it could have been another season.
So, WandaVision season 2 where she... that void.
You see her deterioration, and then her motivations in Doctor Strange make a lot more sense because you see her mental state fall apart. So, there are arguments to be made for these multi-season things. I don't think it's as black and white as mini-series are good, multi-series are bad, or multi-series are bad, mini-series are good, etc., etc.
I think it depends on the character, really. I mean...
I agree, actually. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So, what you just mentioned about Wanda will be perfect because last we saw was in WandaVision where she was a hero, and then
at the end of it.
At the end of it, yes.
Yeah.
And then in what's its face, Multiverse of Madness, she was a villain, so to speak, and you're just there like, what the fuck? And then people that didn't watch WandaVision, last they saw them was in Endgame, where she was a fucking hero. She was an Avenger, and now she's a bad guy.
Hell, even the people who watched WandaVision, even I watched WandaVision, I was still a little confused by how quick that turn was, but...
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying people that didn't watch it, they'll be like, what the hell happened in between there,
Wanda's a very interesting character, and I think it's poorly developed. Like, she went villainous very fast in WandaVision, and then became a hero really quickly again, and then
became a villain quickly again.
Yeah, I have no idea what they're doing with the character or what they want to do with the character.
No, she's supposedly dead. Oh, sorry, I did air quotes there, guys.
Oh, yeah, she'll come back, but...
Yeah. Anyway, my point was you got that with what's her face, Wanda. You also got Loki. They obviously Loki's not a movie guy. No one would really want to see a movie about Loki. He's more of a TV series, in my eyes, at least. And the fact that they decided to, set up their next phase through that TV series, and it ended up being great and good for it. I think that should also be a multi-season thing. Now, multi-season doesn't really need to be like 3, 4, 5 seasons long. It can be 1 or 2. That's probably what they mean about multi-series.
Right.
I don't know. This is fresh.
So you're in the side of you think it should be a mixed bag. Like some should be multi-series and some should be
and completely
mini-series.
And completely depending on the character, because there's clearly characters that do not deserve a movie.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
But there are characters where they would benefit from having like 1 or 2 seasons just to flesh out their story, and then they can come back and, I don't know, in a movie have a quick a minute or two to explain who they are.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good to go.
Yeah, I do agree with that, and I sit quite assertively on the fence that it should be limited series only, and that is because of the fact that they seem to introduce new characters at a rate that the movies can't keep up with.
Maybe this is what their restructure is just one person having a look at it rather than, I don't know, a studio.
No, but I mean, we're getting so much new characters that we can't explore them and we can't get to know them or be invested in them. So limited series allows us to witness a story of one character. We move on to the next one. We move on to the next one, so forth, so forth. But if you have limited series, then we have to focus on this character for this year, and then 2 years later, again we have to focus on them, and then again. If they're gonna keep,
But doesn't it just create more familiarity with that character? Isn't that a good thing?
It does, but they're not. They're introducing too many characters for content to have a focus on them.
Okay.
If they slow the introduction of new characters, then we have time to settle down with them and get to know them, and then get invested in them.
Yeah, they're at a breakneck pace.
How about this? Yeah. If they adopted this strategy right from the start when WandaVision released, would you have the same gripe? Because we didn't.
No, because we would have been getting a lot more slower introduction. It would be easy to digest, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it really depends because the quality of the MCU TV shows have dropped off like an iron.
Oh, definitely.
Like, the first 3 came out and we were like, oh, okay, this is good. It can actually work. And then just nothing.
Get ready for What If Season 2. Series no one wanted.
I'm not even going to comment on that one, but I don't know. I think we're all just kind of marveled out in a way. I think I personally would just love if they just kind of drop the TV shows.
Yeah.
At least for now, just
Forgot
it's
what
too much. I can't even watch it all.
Yeah.
Have you watched everything?
No.
What have you missed out on?
She-Hulk.
You haven't watched any of that?
No, and technically Loki Season 2.
Did you watch Miss Marvel?
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a background TV series for me.
Right.
It's really quite good at the start. It's very well done at the start, but then it
just
classic Marvel fashion
goes off track. Like I was actually engaged for the first three episodes, and after that I was like, what is happening? And it just got worse and worse, and I was like, okay, I'm doing stuff in the background.
Yeah, I was the same way. Like first 3 episodes, super engaging, very well crafted stuff. Like cinematography, fantastic.
Yeah, and the character was actually very interesting, and then by the end of it, she became like an annoying little teen.
Yeah, and it just turned into full Marvel action slog at the end, and it was like, all right.
Yeah. Fucking Marvel. All right, we'll move on from Marvel, and we'll go on to the future Marvel, which is A24.
Oh.
So they've released their latest, or their probably most known first one that I can think of right now is Talk to Me. They did that sort of type of film. Came out this year. They've announced that they're going to go mainstream. So they're looking to expand their projects. They're wanting to make more commercial films for the viewers, and they're eyeing big IP projects. I'm going to start with you, Kyan, because I know you're a big fan of A24. What are your thoughts on this, and what do you think they mean by big IP projects? Do you think they mean stuff like Star Wars, or do you think the more, I don't know, lesser sort of IP sort of stuff that doesn't get that much recognition?
They're going to stick at what they're good at, and that's within very kind of high level drama, very realistic drama, and also horror. They're good at those things. Well, from what I understand, they're eyeing to purchase the IP of Halloween.
They missed out on that. I read something about
really? They didn't get it?
They didn't get it. I
didn't?
don't remember the studio, but
was it Miramax?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So Miramax got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Damn.
To be honest, I didn't really understand that purchase anyway, but it does fall in line with what they're saying here, where the purchasing of these IPs or the production of these IPs. I think this isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think a lot of people will hear this and they'll go, A24 is selling out. I think that it might actually be a good thing to have another big studio in competition here. Producing content that the other studios just aren't doing. To be honest, A24 produces stuff that, Universal, Warner Brothers maybe only gets a chance to once a year, if that.
Yeah.
So this might be an opportunity for the industry to get shaked up a little. I also think that with the extra budget, their movies seemingly seem to be getting better.
Yeah.
They more money into it, they seem to be getting better. But I don't know, maybe that's a very narrow way of thinking about it. But yeah, I am cautiously optimistic, but I'm not completely against it. I think I want to see what they have to offer. If they've got a really good game plan, then yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually completely on board. I thought the reaction to this was a little bit premature. It does sound bad when you hear about it, but
especially when I say going mainstream.
Oh, absolutely. But I don't think that's or using IP driven kind of stuff. I don't think that's the bad thing that we're seeing in the film industry these days. I think it's the fact that they're committing to all this, IP driven stuff, and it's all just so mediocre and bland and forgettable. If A24 can stick to their values and how they actually the films that come out of that studio, they still take big risks. They just take it with IP now. If they, do all the stuff and lend that creative direction to their directors, then we can see IP coming from them that is actually like just very different, and it takes risks, it's bold, all that kind of stuff. Stuff that studios, they don't take much swings in terms of their IP stuff. It's always very, very safe. And I think that is the positive that I can take away from it is like, okay, cool. If they can do IP stuff, but if it's still the A24 kind of goodness, then it's not a bad thing. As long as we're getting good stuff at the end of the day, I'm not one to really complain about it. But I guess it really depends on kind of also like what becomes an IP. Is it really worth it? You look at something like John Wick, what Lionsgate did with that series, and the first one to me is not even the best one. It's the third one, but all four are amazing. They know exactly what they want to do, and it started from just like this. It was meant to be a one-time thing. Hey, here you go, Keanu Reeves in a little action movie, but and it's become this whole franchise now, and it's not just a franchise that's like, oh, the first one was great, we just milked the shit out of it. No,
just built.
Yeah, and now we got a spin-off coming from it. So if A24 can take things like that and turn it into something really good, we're gonna want to see those movies. We really wanted to see John Wick 4 because of the other ones.
Yeah,
I think A24 have a chance to shake up the industry here, take IP, but do what the other studios are not doing. Still be risky with it. Still be bold with it and make good stuff.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you guys. I don't want them to take like a big IP, like Star Wars, Marvel, stuff like that.
Star Wars?
No, that'd be crazy.
It actually might be good. But like, I think those more smaller, lesser known ones, like, something like Halloween, where it's just been pretty average, I think it will completely suit A24 style. Same with like maybe the Alien and Predator universe.
You see, like to me, that the purchase of Halloween doesn't make much sense. But I was saying this to James before. It's like Halloween is so very one note in regards to what it's doing. It's just extremely, extremely classical slasher with very, very kind of singular objectives in it.
Do you mean like what else can they do with it?
Yeah, what can you do with it? I just like, to me, like maybe something like Nightmare on Elm Street would be a better pick, because I feel like you can just do a lot more with Freddy Krueger and dreams and these sorts of things with it.
Yeah,
and you can say a lot more with the characters. But I just don't really know with Halloween. It just didn't make sense to me. But
right. What about the Alien and Predator?
Oh, it's owned by Disney, but
yeah,
I don't think Disney would let that go.
It was just examples I could think of.
Yeah, I mean, if they were,
I was more talking about the stuff that you said about Nightmare films, like that sort of stuff. Like if they take those IPs, I think they could make it really good. The stuff I just said was the first things that could come to mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it was Alien and Predator, I mean, that would be very cool, because I think you'd get a lot more sort of maybe darker, survival-y, grounded stuff. Yeah.
Or maybe even they can create their own IP, like as if Lionsgate and John Wick, they were expecting one movie and now look at it, maybe they could do the same thing.
Yeah, it's true.
If they were to do something with their most successful film, Everything Everywhere All at Once, how could that develop as an IP? They made over $100 million. Huge for them.
It did. I don't know how, because I think that film was a standalone film in my eyes.
Mhm.
It'll be very
Does
hard.
it get you worried that they might do that now?
Not A24.
I mean,
If it was another studio, yeah.
Talk to me. That's having a sequel.
That is, but that film has potential for a sequel.
From
you know?
what I understand,
Yes.
it's worthy of a sequel, isn't it?
Yeah, and like, you know, you can take the hand and go to different continents and get different cultures' experience on that.
I mean, yeah, you can, but it feels like a sequel for a sequel. Like, it doesn't. There was no room to like. We have to tell more in this story.
Okay.
Yeah, but like, we can. It's pretty easy.
From what I understand, the creators had already written the layout for the sequel before, but by the time they had, like, before they had even started filming,
I
the first one.
I don't know how it can actually be a sequel. It's
I
more like
think it
a
was a spin-off or something.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
something that would
Actually,
just
yeah, that's
something that would just run parallel,
Yeah.
you know?
that's
so
a
it's
very
same
interesting
time or-
question.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know how it can.
I,
Really be
I
a
think sequel is just the term used, you know?
Yeah,
I think A24 are probably smarter than I am in regards to what they plan on doing. Like, I honestly can't speak for them, because I could speak for something like I can make commentary on something like Disney, because there is a lot of situations, and I'm sure many people would agree, where you go, "What the hell are you doing, Disney? Why are you doing this? Why did you do this?"
yeah.
But when it comes to A24, they seem to have such an amazing grasp on who is talented and who is not, and like the right decisions and the wrong decisions,
Yeah,
that I almost like feel apprehensive to say, "Oh, this isn't a good idea," or this is a good idea.
right. No, I see what you mean. I think the creators have talked to me. You know, like you said, they already written it before the first one released. So I'm not gonna like argue against A24's decision to take on the sequel or anything. But like I think we can take a look at this and kind of really ask what the intent is here in terms of IP. Are you going to develop all your successful properties? The Witch too?
Oh no,
Everything
Eggers
all
wouldn't do it.
Yeah, and Eggers doesn't have to do it.
Yeah.
They can take on other directors. Like, that's my concern. Are you going to buy the rights to pre-existing stuff, or are you going to create your own? And if they are going to create their own, are we going to see a change in how A24 produce films?
I think A24's primary strength is that they have a very strong relationship with their directors. I think that their success is maybe even due to that strength with their directors. They have a very like strong bond and strong level of trust, with their directors. So I think if they betray that trust, you kind of destroy your platform if you do that, because then everyone goes, well, they're just going to stab me in the back.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's very hard to interpret what this news really means and how they're going to go about it. But I mean, I think we can all say, it's not all bad. If A24 sticks to how they've done things, for the last decade or so, I think we could be in some really good IP.
Definitely.
Yeah. The problem isn't IP in our film industry and release slate these days. It's the fact that it's all just so bland and voiceless.
And I think A24 has that sort of creativity to it to make it not bland, but spicy and flavorful.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's a nice, tasty way to put it.
Making me hungry now. Trust James to make Nan hungry on a podcast, eh? Cool, guys. That will do us today on the Let's Be Real podcast. Hope you've all enjoyed the show wherever you've been listening from. If you have any questions about this episode, be sure to hit us up on social media. You can find us on Twitter or X, TikTok, Pinterest, and YouTube. Or if you want to see what else we get up to, head over to MovieGainz.com. We got all the latest box office news, film and physical media, 4K reviews, and content. Be sure to sign up to our newsletter so you can always keep up to date on that content as well. And hey, if you loved today's episode and want to hear more, check us out on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from. Thanks everyone for tuning in today. We're MovieGainz. See you later.
Peace.
Bye.